Hello my fellow gamers and welcome to Peerless of videos. I have for you today the first of many videos that will feature your battle replays. There will be two kinds, a cinematic type of replay videos and videos featuring battle reviews. Today's video will be of the latter kind, so I'm doing a battle review of a replay sent to me by Matthew Wagner. It is an amazing battle replay of a last stand land battle featuring a defensive box formation against two armies. As you can see, Matthew, who I will be calling from now on General for simplicity's sake, has no cavalry in this battle, and that is the reason he has chosen to set up his army in a box formation. He has placed his archers and crossbowmen in the middle, of course. On the flanks he has spearmen, on the front line he has axemen and swordmen, and the back is supported by pikemen. The only small mistake that I found in this formation when I checked it out was the fact that he put repeated crossbowmen with their lower range in the middle of the formation instead of the front, so that they would be able to engage sooner. A note to anyone who uses this kind of a tactical formation is that you have to leave the archers and crossbowmen to use only fire at will ability and to make sure that you turn off their skirmish ability. Fire at will is a must because if you give them the explicit orders to attack, they will reorient their formation and very likely end up entering the melee battle or even getting men outside of the protective box. And you have to turn off the skirmishing ability so that they stay in the box formation even after the enemy attacks the melee defenders, or else again they will move out of the box. You saw that the frontline units are using the shield wall formation, which is going to allow them to soak up the enemy charge and also some arrows, while the spearmen are not using their testudo formation, nor are the pikemen using their spear wall formation. This does allow the spear and pike units to cover more ground, as their formation would shrink if they were put into those formations, but they lose the bonuses those formations give them. Our general had to forego these formations because he wouldn't have enough units to make the box if he had put them in these formations. I used this replay to fight this battle myself, making my own box formation and using testudo with spearmen and spear wall with pikemen units to make the box 50% smaller. I had to stack the archers and crossbowmen on top of each other or set them up vertically instead of horizontally for them to fit inside the smaller box. I had lost 8 battles against the AI trying this out. As you can see, the enemy has quite the numerical advantage and has many cavalry units in the two armies approaching our general's position. It's going to be very interesting to see how the enemy uses his cavalry advantage against this box formation. As the enemy approaches, it is clear that he will not wait to link up both armies, but that the first army will attack right away, with the second army coming up from the rear and entering the battle late. This is going to give our outnumbered general the fighting chance. Anytime you are up against an enemy army with reinforcements incoming, it is usually the best course of action to attack and mop up the first enemy army before the second one can enter the battlefield and link up with the first one, outnumbering you even further. But with absolutely no cavalry support, this is not the option our general had. As the enemy army approaches, it is clear that his cavalry and hero general units are going to keep to his left flank, our defending generals a right flank. Because archers and crossbowmen are on fire at will command, they will start to fire as the closing cavalry units enter their range. This might not be the best use of their arrows since they are limited in number, while horsemen are galloping and they are much harder to hit. And since the entire formation is set up to minimize cavalry attack power, it isn't necessary to kill off this cavalry. What I will change here is to keep the fire at will command off until the enemy infantry units come into range. Additionally, these cavalry units are equipped with shields, further reducing the effectiveness of arrows and crossbow bolts against them. And as you can see, they only take a few casualties as they come close in for the flank attack charge. The flank or back attack is the best use for cavalry, but against a stationary box formation, it doesn't have the same effect because there are no units that can be attacked in the flank or the back. So these cavalry units? Well, let's just watch. And with that, I think it's the perfect time for a Sun Tzu quote from The Art of War. Thus the expert in battle moves the enemy, and it is not moved by him. The enemy generals are first to smash into the shield wall formation of sword and axe units. One of them is an anti-unit general who is going to make quite the impression on the infantry line. The other is the sentinel whose mission should be support and not frontline attack. As the enemy infantry makes its attack, the front line of our general holds up, while the flanks and backs are secure and the archers and crossbowmen are safe to fire and shoot the enemy. Their effectiveness will now drop as they have to fire up and above friendly units. The enemy's cavalry is mostly spent after those disastrous charges into spears, but they keep making thrusts into the flanks, taking down our general's soldiers and keeping the spear unit tied up at the flanks. Thus far, our general has kept his hero, so to speak, general units back and not in the front lines. The sentinel is in support, the strategist is just sitting there watching out for units, and the duelist is actually the one who is going to combat the enemy generals. Here we can see the first enemy general unit starting to flee, but that unit was only half strength to begin with. What is the most interesting is the massive infantry blob at the right flank of the attacking generals or the left flank of our defending general. It is what allows our general to survive the pressure of the more numerous army, because those blob units are not attacking where it matters, but rather just jostling each other in the background. The enemy's vanguard hero has smashed the defending general's right flank almost by himself, finding no opposition. It is only now that our general is sending his champion, a professional duelist, to deal with him. And as this is happening, he is sending his freed up pike unit to do a back attack on the enemy's infantry units, hopefully doing large morale damage to the affected units. While this was happening, the second army has joined the fray, but we will get into that in a moment. I have so far ignored talking about the enemy's range units, as their input in this battle is very limited to the point of making more damage than good, because mostly they shoot from the back of their own units, making friendly fire kills most of the time. As the second army approaches, it makes a staggered attack, with the faster cavalry units reaching the front line first, leaving the slower infantry in the dust. These units also have been running since entering the battlefield, seriously expanding their stamina, making them less effective in a fight. And the enemy general makes a huge mistake here, using the new, but not so very fresh cavalry, to attack the defending general's solid and still fresh flank, instead of the already broken one, missing the opportunity to scatter the archers, who have no pike or spear protection, and to make hammer and anvil attacks on the front line from the back. This finishes the complete waste of enemy's advantage of cavalry units at this crucial time, when there was a place in the defending general's formation that was ripe for a proper devastating cavalry strike. At this point, our defending general makes one mistake in trying to block the attacking cavalry units by moving his pike units closer to them. This never works, because cavalry units are manually controlled and are much faster and will run circles around foot units. But luckily for him, these cavalry units do not go for the softer targets in the middle of his now open box formation, but end up attacking the chasing pike units, melting away in the short melee. As the second wave of the enemy's infantry units finally gets closer, our defending general tries to tighten up his formation once again, as his front ranks are thinning out in the prolonged melee, showing the problem of not having his own cavalry capable of doing hammer and anvil attacks and ending the infantry melee battle with the rout of the enemy's infantry corps. The middle of the defensive box is now wide open, not only on the exposed back or the broken flank, but also right in the front, with only the hero units holding the line against half-spent enemy infantry units. At this point, the attacking army only has a single general still in the fight, the commander, because the sentinel was broken and fled, as was the vanguard some time ago. Now comes the part of the battle that is do or die for each side. The defending general is forced to throw his generals into combat with enemy units, staying their forward momentum, while the enemy is sending more units into the meat grinder that is the front line, as well as trying to go around the main battle lines and attack the flanks with his superior numbers. The archers and the crossbowmen are close to emptying their quills, and will soon have to be ordered into melee mode to fight it out with the enemy infantry sword and pike units. What is left of the enemy's cavalry units can't make an impact, as they are down to a few horsemen. The left flank of the defending general is still strong, thanks in no small part to the attacking general's blobbing of more than 3 units on that flank, making little use of hundreds of soldiers. As the ranged units turn into melee units, they are sent into the fray, and finally does the champion defeat the last enemy general, taking him down right on the battlefield, which takes a large toll on the morale of enemy units. Which is why in this total war especially do you have to try to keep your generals alive, but also try to find a good use for them. As you saw, a champion is very good at attacking enemy hero units, while the vanguard is excellent at attacking enemy actual units. All you need to keep the strategist or the commander alive and back. You can use the sentinel, sometimes to attack, sometimes to defend, but mostly to keep buffing your own units. With all of the enemy generals dead, the enemy units are tired, low on morale, and not in the best shape, as their lines are torn, they do not support each other, and are left open to flank and back attacks, which our defending general notices and takes advantage of. This battle is now finished, even before the inevitable chain rout. If you would like to have your battle featured on my channel in a video about battle tactics, or made into a cool looking cinematic video, make sure to send it to me at paraphilosophisubmissions@gmail.com. or send me a link to the cloud service where you uploaded your replay. If you need any help finding the location of the replays on your PC, you can watch my video about finding the replays and how to send them to me to be featured on my channel. Thank you all for watching, and see you again in another video.